In this video, I want to talk about why so many people are unhappy. The truth is, many of us are struggling to find that state of contentment. So I'm going to talk about happiness and lack of it, and the habits that you have to stop. You have to become aware of and just completely stop if you want to be a happier person. On the screen, you're going to find the chapters for the video, and on my channel, you'll find healthy plant-based recipes, guided meditation recordings and affirmations, and also self-development content like this video right here. So let's get into the video. The first thing I want to talk about is comparison. This toxic habit that we all need to be aware of and recognize it in ourselves when we're doing it, and really trying to manage it, control it, and avoid it, and do our best to keep under wraps. Especially with the beautiful existence of social media, it's like the impact of it has been amplified to like next level. This is one of the biggest reasons why so many people are unhappy. We're constantly, consciously and unconsciously comparing ourselves to others. Not only does it breed and brew envy, but also it really distorts our perception of reality, and it's constantly making us feel like we are behind, or we're not as happy as all these other people, or we're so unaccomplished and feel like losers in this world, and we're so behind and we're so unaccomplished, and. We all know this. We know that social media is really just a drop of people's realities, and there's a lot to be said about this. One is people have the choice of what they want to post about on their social media. So if they want to show a certain aspect of their life, that's completely their choice, and people need to respect that. So if they want to only speak about certain topics, or if they want to only share certain things, that's their choice at the end of the day. I understand that many could feel frustrated about that aspect, because let's say you're talking about healthy food, you're just showing all this like healthy food that you're eating, but is that really realistic? Is that achievable? Surely you also eat unhealthy sometimes, and it's so unrealistic and unattainable and unachievable and whatever. The truth is, at the end of the day, it's completely up to people what they choose to share or not to share. Yes, I do think that it is really helpful and appreciated when people are perhaps giving more dimension, context to topics, even like healthy eating, and really reminding and re-emphasizing that it's not about perfection. Even people in the health industry that are promoting a healthy diet and lifestyle are also practicing some unhealthy habits at times, or they might be showing the meals that are healthier because that's trying to promote healthy living, sharing with people what healthy meals look like, but it doesn't mean that they're perfect themselves. So it's like, I understand that people need to see the value in trying to give a holistic approach, but the truth is nobody gets to dictate what the content that people choose to spit out into this world, and the reasons behind it, and why they want to focus on certain content with others. So that's for people to choose to what they want to share. Having said that, I think I probably am one of those people that tries to give more context and try to also showcase the times that, the times that things don't go as planned. And it's much more relatable, because then you're also seeing different dimensions of people. Like, being healthy does not mean perfection. Being healthy means trying to eat healthy every day while still enjoying the unhealthy food, so to speak, on occasion. That's my definition of what healthy looks like. We also have a sense of obligation, responsibility to know that what we're seeing is just a drop, one picture, one video, 2 videos, 3 videos of someone's day. Really, like, that's obviously not the full picture, and therefore we also have to take a sense of responsibility in terms of the content that we're consuming, and recognizing that that's just an aspect of somebody's life. So keeping that in the back of our mind, being aware of it, and taking some sort of ownership in terms of how we are choosing to see that. So I mean, I've seen somebody that I follow on social media who is huge in sharing healthy recipes and all that sort of stuff. And only the other day, she shared something personal, which was her mom just passed away from terminal cancer, and that she's actually been experiencing this for the last 2 years, that she was diagnosed 2 years ago, and they were going through all of that. And she made the choice not to share that on social media. And mind you, like, in these 2 years, she's probably had her biggest success in her career in social media, where she's sharing all this, like, constantly posting about, with her work and like all these things, and even, images and videos of her and her mom, and nobody knew what really was happening behind the scenes. And that was her choice. Like, that's what she wanted. What she wanted to share is what she wanted to share. So it just goes as another reminder, like, social media is not the whole picture of everything. Game of comparison is really, really a toxic and never-ending space, and we need to be really aware of it, and we need to recognize it in ourselves when we're falling into the trap of comparing ourselves. So that's one, is like the whole comparison. What I would want to build on in this context is I'll hear comments from people about like, feeling like other people have achieved certain successes and stuff like that and feeling a bit envious about it. Now, I do want to say that you shouldn't beat yourself up if you're feeling envious. This is a normal emotion that we all experience and nobody is exempt from this. But having said that, it's good to make sure that obviously we're not doing something negative. We're not acting on those emotions in a negative way or trying to hurt anybody with that, obviously. But being aware of it and working on ourselves to understand why we're having this feeling. What is it in that person that they have that we maybe aspire for or want to achieve that we have not been able to achieve ourselves, and therefore gives us more inner work to try to overcome this. I've heard comments from people like a bit jealous of other people that have achieved certain things, and it's like, first of all, you don't know how hard they've worked to achieve that, and second of all, why is it that they can't achieve that before you would achieve that? Why do you feel like you should have achieved that also or before them? Don't be hard on yourself, but like, it's important to have self-awareness and remind yourself, like, you don't know what they've been through. Whether they deserve it or not is none of your basically prerogative. Like, it's none of your business as to whether they deserve that or not. Work on yourself and focus on that, and that's far more productive. Here's a personal tip that I want to share. I do think in real life or on social media, if someone is triggering you in a way that you're feeling envious or you're feeling jealous or you're having certain like emotions, and sometimes they're your friends, sometimes it's people that you admire, sometimes it's people that are in the same field but like doing something that's similar to what you're doing, it's okay. Like, I think be aware of it, and a personal tip that I would like to share with you is to try to limit your exposure to them. You're not sending that energy to them, but also not living and brewing in these emotions, because it doesn't serve you or them any good. And I think it's helpful to limit that exposure while you do a lot of work on yourself and try to figure out why you're feeling this way and how you can overcome that. I personally have exercised this myself and I found it very useful, and it's helped me grow and move forward. Yeah, so I'm not experiencing negative emotions because it's not good for me, and I'm going to attract more negativity into my life. And also, it's not fair on the person that you might be having those emotions towards. And again, they can be complete strangers, they can be big influencers, they can be people that you know personally. It doesn't matter who it is. There are certain things that happen and that trigger, and the truth is, everybody experiences this. Nobody's exempt. So comparison, throw it in the bin, stop doing it. Another thing that is contributing significantly to unhappiness is the overvaluing of money. Don't get me wrong, this does not mean that anybody who aspires to make more money or to be successful or to start a business and all these things, they're not inherently bad at all. I have my certain goals and aspirations across these different topics, and that whole myth, if you seek money or success or to start a business or whatever, is like, that means that you're greedy or you're valuing the wrong things. That's not true, and that's just a myth. That is not what I'm talking about. On the contrary, actually, like, people that have these aspirations and whatever are amazing. Like, good for you, you deserve it, you are worthy to achieve these things, keep going. Valuing of money, like, unfortunately, society, whether we like it or not, has brewed this whole thing about giving value to people or yourselves if you have achieved certain things in life, whether it's financial or certain career achievements. Of course, there are things to be proud of. There is nothing wrong about it. But I think everything within reason and within context is really important to remember. I think, as long as we're not overvaluing these things over things that really matter, like our health, our connections with people, family, friends, our community, over, being a kind person, making a positive impact on this world, all these things, that's where the issues play out. And then also, you are seeking the wrong things. You're constantly only thinking that happiness is coming from these certain things. If you're really focusing on the other things that many people logically know, of course, happiness is not just about money and a career success, let's say. Of course, it's about family and connections and da-da-da-da-da-da. But the truth is, they have abundance in those aspects of their life. And maybe they're still in the works. The financial aspect or the career aspect is still in the works. They feel like they are unhappy, or they are like failures, or they have not achieved what they thought they would achieve by a certain age or time in their life. And I think that's a really, really slippery slope. It's trouble, because I think not everybody is going to have everything at every stage in their life. And I think that, these are things that are great to aspire for and work towards, but they are just certain elements of happiness and success. And with the comparison and what others have, there's always going to be somebody that has more. and if we're always going to just overvalue money, and we're always going to compare ourselves to others, there's always going to be people that have more money. It's a vicious cycle. So that's one of my things that I would say. Unrealistic expectations. We're constantly bombarded by social media. Like, think about it. When we're reading the news or we're looking at social media, people's posts, like, understandably so, and I probably do it as well, like, you'll post probably like the milestones of like getting that certification or being part of some project or collaboration or whatever it may be. That moment has been achieved because you put in a lot of work in the year prior. So when you're posting about, oh, you've got the certification, you spend months studying and working towards that thing that then gave you that moment, but not many people are really documenting that process of the hard work. I mean, some are, but many aren't, just because they think like it's not of relevance, or for whatever reason they chose not to. You're constantly just seeing like, oh my God, this person has done this, and this person has achieved this and achieved that and achieved this, and they're really not realizing like what has gone behind it. And so these unrealistic expectations of certain achievements, and like, again, there are so many people that are just waiting for this like big break that will happen. And one of the beautiful things that I learned, or he always highlights, Stephen Bartlett, huge fan from Diary of a CEO. And he says, like, it is not that big decision that you make that then, like, to launch this business or to not, or to pursue this specific path or not, that really gets you to success. But it's that small decisions that you make daily that are the reason to why you have succeeded by taking certain paths in your life. I love that. And I actually saw him live in one of his events that he spoke about this, because he says that it takes away so much pressure. Like, people are so pressured to make sure, like, do I take a right or a left, like, in this moment? Like, is this the pivot moment? But actually, if you're thinking about all these choices that you're making, the left and the right, and the small decisions every day that are really the ones that are then add up and give you that success, then it's such an empowering message, and also gives you back a lot of the power, and not relying on that one decision or decisions that are gonna then make you or break you. So this, like, especially with social media or the news, like this whole reading, we're bombarded by like the overnight success, the huge achievements, like, oh my God, come on guys, really, like, really try to be aware of what you're making of the things that you're seeing in terms of the news or the content. Like, this person didn't just become an overnight sensation. Yes, there's like the 0.0001% of people who became an overnight sensation when they were doing the same, let's say, like, content everybody else, but really like 99.99999% of people are really putting in the work and the effort every single day for hours to then get to those milestones. And we're just seeing those milestones and we're thinking, like, having really unrealistic expectations. Like, if we're putting in effort for 1 month or 3 months or 1 year into something that we're working towards and we didn't achieve it, then we're like, we're never cut out for this. It's not just meant for me. I'm such a failure. Everybody else is like, by now has achieved X, Y, and Z. Come on, be realistic with your expectations in terms of how much effort you need to put in to achieve what you're set out to achieve. So take it easy on yourself. It's a journey. It's not an overnight sensation. Don't look at the small stories or cases of like certain people that have really been the leaders in certain industries. There may be in some cases there was overnight success, maybe some of it was luck, but for the most part, I would say most people have really, done the work. Let's redefine success, wealth, abundance. Money can't buy happiness. Well, listen, I mean, I think money can bring in a lot of happiness into everyone's lives, but there are many people that are very rich that are also unhappy, that might have committed suicide. We know of many celebrities that unfortunately that's happened to. We know of cases where Steve Jobs, who unfortunately with all his wealth, there wasn't any treatment for his illness, terminal illness. So of course, money is a great thing. Money is energy at the end of the day, and it's not a negative thing, and it's not something that we shouldn't aspire to have more of if we desire, but it doesn't define happiness. It is one aspect of happiness. It's important to remember that riches come with the relationships and connections that we have with people, and having the luxury of pursuing our passions and contributing in a meaningful way to the world. True wealth is really being able to mentally and physically being well, and and being able to have access to the experiences that we want to have access and provide comfort and safety for our families. It's important to allocate the right amount of importance, time, effort, satisfaction, and contentment towards the different aspects of our lives that truly give us happiness. So here are my practical tips to finding true happiness or living a happier life. I'm going to quote Albert Einstein, and I hope I get this right. If you want to live a happier life, then tie it to a goal, not to people or things. Cultivating gratitude. Again, this goes back to looking at your life in a holistic way. When you're looking at your health, you're looking at your connections with people, you're looking at your community, contributing to the world in a positive way. If you're looking at all these different things, like whether it's also the money that you have, the success you have, being grateful for the things that you have, that you are happy with, and also still being grateful to the things that, even if there are things that you still have not achieved that you really aspire for, and maybe you feel frustration because you're trying to achieve them and there's, you're not where you want to be, expressing gratitude for that, but also building and working towards that while still being able to feel abundance and contentment from the other things that are very valuable to you. Like, I'm sure family is, for example, very valuable to many people, but not that we're taking it for granted, but we're just focusing on that one aspect of our life that maybe we're lacking or we have not achieved, or a goal that we have not achieved, and really forgetting about all the other things that we have achieved that are part of our aspirations and goals. Avoid comparison, like we discussed earlier. Obviously, it's super toxic, it's unrealistic. You don't know what people's stories are, even if you feel like you are doing more or giving more and others have maybe succeeded more than you, and that's not fair and whatever. Don't hate yourself for experiencing this. It's normal, everybody does, but just being mindful of it, aware of it, avoiding it, taking actionable steps to keeping it at bay and pursuing meaningful things. It's so important to try to do that if you want to be a happier person, like pursuing more of the things that are meaningful to you, that bring you happiness and joy. I think just stopping for a moment and really reassessing. Sometimes we go on with our days and we really don't realize that, why am I doing this? Why am I spending 2 hours scrolling Instagram when actually exit it feeling not great about myself? Well, I'm not saying we're not gonna be on social media, of course we are right now, but it's about just consuming it mindfully in the way that adds value to you and brings you happiness, because you're staying connected with the people that you admire or your family and friends, but knowing when to stop and when to not go overboard. So then how can you use those 2 hours in a much more meaningful way and doing the things that you really actually enjoy, going for that walk, or I don't know, reading that book, or spending more time with the kids, whatever. Another thing to bring you more happiness is knowing that you are worthy regardless of your achievement and regardless of where you are at in life, knowing that you are worthy right now, right here in this moment, and it's not attached to any of the other stuff that you might be overvaluing at the moment, which is making you feel unhappy. Another way to feel more happiness is when we give back. I don't know, it's just human nature. If at the end of the day, when we give back with our time, our resources, our skills, our whatever we can, that does bring in more happiness and joy. And also you can practice affirmations. I know it sounds really strange, basic, and maybe unusual, but telling yourself I am happy, I am happy, I am happy, I am happy, I feel abundance, I am love, I feel love, I am grateful, even if you're not feeling just that just yet, but the more you say what you want to feel, you say more of it, the more you attract, and the more you can influence your subconscious mind to start saying that to yourself. Happiness is not a destination, it's a journey. Just enjoy the process. There's nothing more amazing than just going through that, just self-discovery and just doing things that make you more happy. And so my tip is stop comparing yourself to other people. Put a control on, control the amount of social media you are consuming. If you are feeling unhappy, because that is comparison on steroids, and just recheck yourself, reassess, what are you valuing? What's your definition of happiness and wealth and abundance and success? Really putting it into perspective and trying to, again, have a reasonable split. And of course, if you need to seek professional help, please do. This content is just things that have worked for me, some of my experiences, but of course does not replace professional help. So if you need it, make sure you get the support that you need. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to my channel. You're gonna find healthy plant-based recipes, self-help and self-development contents like this one, and also guided meditation recordings and affirmations. Tell your friends, share this video with somebody that you think needs to hear it. I appreciate you. Thank you for taking the time to watch this, and see you in the next video. Bye.